Chris. Welcome. Hi, Carol. Hi, Patsy. Hi, Linda. Let us know how we're doing on sound on Facebook and YouTube. Where else are we streaming?
Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
And Instagram. Nobody from Instagram yet.
Actually, I have to monitor. I moderate Instagram over here. Oh, there we are.
Streaming?
We're back. Like
Yeah, we're
magic.
streaming. I didn't shut the stream down, right?
Hello, video camera that's sort of working half the time.
It has 4 bars charged this morning.
Hey, Diana.
Okay.
Okay, we're back.
All right, Patsy. Is it ruler work week?
We're talking about rulers tonight.
It's a ruler show.
You can't see all my shapes that I made though.
Oh, okay. Well, hang on. We can make adjustments to this. When you need to go higher or lower?
Higher, I think.
All right.
Earthquake.
Kind of like that?
Yeah, look at all this fun stuff.
Okay. Hey, kitty. You, Terry.
What day is Jelly Roll National Jelly Roll Month? Is September, but it is the 21st. National Soa Jelly Roll today. It's 21st. What? You're gonna have to scrunch down a little bit. Come down to my level. Feel what it's like to be short.
Hi.
This is what it's like to be tall.
How's that feel?
Like you should be doing uppies.
Well, folks, if you haven't watched the show before, this is what you can get. You never know. It's late in the day, and we're here to have fun.
Yeah.
So, have we did a sound check?
We did.
Everything's good?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, who are we?
We are Quilters HQ, Windmill Sewing Center, Sewing Machines Express, and Quilt Sampler. The websites are quiltershq.com, Sewing Machine. She just messed me up.
With the who?
Windmillsewingcenter.com, quiltsampler.com, and we are actually letting the website for Sewing Machines Express. Well, it's got a landing page.
I mean, we're going to use it for other stuff, but it's sort of twilighted. It may just be, you know, hanging out in the shadows for a minute and show back up.
Yeah. Like a ghost.
Hey, Kathy, how are you doing? How you feeling? Hey, Debbie.
Trimble, Missouri.
And who said I'm going to be able to get back?
You gotta brace yourself on.
This is true.
Yeah. So, helps to have a lifty thing.
It does. Yeah, if you stood all the way up, then you'd be
I'm
like a
just
towering person.
I just
like
can't get over
stand
the
up a little
fact
bit
that
taller.
like this is what you see all the time. I'm humbled. I don't know what to think about. I can't wrap my mind around it.
All right, moving on. Let's do
That's
something
about
fun.
right, isn't it? You're about like.
Let's just do something fun.
I need help.
She needs a new assistant.
Yes, so tonight we are talking about all the fun stuff you can cut with just your basic ruler and rotary cutter. I do like the Quilter Select rotary cutters, so you can't cut anything without a rotary cutter. So I'm going to talk about my favorite. I have, I think, 2 of these at home because I pick things up and I walk away and then I set them down somewhere else and then I can't find it. I don't know if that happens to you, but it happens to me all the time. So this is the one that we use in the shop, and to open it you just push down and press. I see a lot of people doing this. Don't do that. You're gonna dull your blade. So you just push the button, press down, and it's open. So I don't know if you can see, you can kind of, if I can get a reflection, yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of the blade. That's all you need. And then to close it, you just tap it on the other side. So you hold this one differently. So when you're cutting with this one, you're not holding it like this, which is a good thing because when, you know, as we get older and I'm having some shoulder pain and we're trying to cut like this, it doesn't work really well. But when you change your grip and push down, you're using your forearm to cut instead of your shoulder. So you can have a little more force when you're cutting. This rotary cutter comes in 3 sizes, 60 millimeter, 45 millimeter, and long awaited 28 millimeter. They all work the same way. They are right or left-handed. And they're worth it. They're hefty. So somebody comes in and uses your scissors, you could, you know, I'm not advocating violence in any way. But if you felt inclined, you could tap somebody with that. It's heavy. It probably weighs 10, 12 ounces. No, maybe not that much. Yeah, maybe 8 or 9 ounces. Let's see if it says. It does not, but it is pretty heavy. So, and that's a good thing. So you can use it right-handed or left-handed. Works the same way, either one. Same method, and then hold it like this, and we're pushing down with our finger using this one. So I'm just sliding along. Helps to have a nice fresh blade when you're doing these. So the rulers that I'm using the most tonight is the 6" by 24 and the 6 by 12. Now I've already cut all of my strips, so I don't really need this one a lot anymore. And I'm using 2.5" strips because September 21st, National Jelly Roll. Sew a jelly roll. I think they made that up so they could sell more jelly rolls. What do you think? This one's really pretty. This is Create Joy Project. Flora. It's got lots of little flowers and stuff on it. So, just to go over some of the kind of stuff that you can cut. Hexagons, half-hexes, tumbler blocks. So this one you can lay out in a couple of different ways. This is the same shape, but you can do a 6-pointed star with it as well. Let me drag these over. I can't reach the equilateral triangle. I'll be right back. I can't reach that one.
I feel like the guy in Home Improvement, you know, but the other way. Mr. Wilson?
Yeah. And equilateral triangles.
Hi, Carla.
So lots of shapes. I don't know if you've ever thought about cutting these out with your regular old ruler. If you have AccuQuilt, then you're fortunate because AccuQuilt can cut these shapes out for you. It's so nice. But if you don't want it, don't have it, not interested, you can still cut these out with your regular ruler. And I've already got one here. Let me just square it off. What's left of it. And put that in the rubbish. So the reason that I like these AccuQuilt rulers, I'm really spoiled. Your rotary cutter and your ruler is like your machine. You should really invest in them because you use them so much, and they're just like any other tool. The better your tools, the better your result. So we're used to rulers that just do this on our fabric. They just slide around, and you get up to here to the top with your rotary cutter, and then just bam, the ruler moves and you've wasted fabric. This one has a coating on it, and it doesn't, let me roll some of this out so you can see. I've really been spreading out here. Yep, we still have that. So once you set it down, it's not really moving. It does take a little bit to get used to because you have to kind of lift up on it as you're realigning your fabric. But once you set it, it's not going to move, right? So, I mean, I'm not really pushing down. I'm really just kind of pushing forward, and it doesn't move. See, it's moving my mat rather than sliding on the ruler. See, I'll do it with 2 fingers. So I can't, it's heavy. But it really grips your fabric, and it's just a coating. We've been using this one since we opened. The coating is still there. It gets a little, I don't know how to describe it, rough around the outside of the ruler because of your finger oil. Your finger oil will eventually deteriorate this, but this one is still in very excellent shape, and we've had this in the store for 2017. How many years is that? 7 years that we've been using this ruler, and I can't tell you how many thousands of yards of fabric we've cut with it, and still going strong. So that's the reason I really like the Quilter Select rulers. And if you haven't tried them and you're local, or you go into your local quilt shop, try them out. You'll be amazed. So typically when we demo those, people are happy to buy them. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the 6x12. They do make a 6.5 in the 24. They make a 6.5 by 24 and an 8.5 by 24. I like this 6 because the 1/2 inch always throws me off every time. It gets me in trouble every time. So I kind of stick to the 6 inch. We're working with 2.5 inch strips, and we're going to cut equilateral. I only have a couple of cuts left on this, and we're going to cut equilateral triangles. So on your rulers, you have these angled lines. You have 60 degree, 45 degrees, and 30 degrees. So a lot of what we're doing here tonight is going to use either the 30 and the 60. So let me just tell you, they're the same angle, only reversed. So 30 and 60, don't think of it as 2 different angles. It's the same angle. And then 45 is, think of it as, you know, it's that miter that we like to have on our quilts. So if you were making binding, you could go and pre-cut your strips at a 45 degree angle and then miter them together and have them sewn on that. I like to just cross them over like this and then sew corner to corner, and that gets me the same effect. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our equilateral triangles. Super easy. We're going to be using the 45 degree. And so what you're going to do on your straight edge down here, you're just going to line up that 45 degree. Let's do it the opposite way. So that, let's turn it around. That's what I needed to do. So that we can get that, that first cut. And we're going to go right along. So on my ruler, I don't know if we want to put that, do we want to just set that on the table and point it down so that people can see? Hang on.
Also, I think the chat is frozen. I think this is an OBS problem.
Okay.
I think this is a camera problem. Is that good? Do you want it a little bit closer?
A little bit closer. And then bring it. Yep.
Right there.
Yep, that'll work.
A mess of your shapes.
Oh, that's okay. So my 45 degree is right here. So you can kind of see it. You can, there you go. 45 degrees. That is what I'm lining up with the very bottom of my strip. Now if you were doing this with a jelly roll, you would line it up with the outside little peaky point that they do. Wrong angle. Got to pay attention, Joan. You're working with angles. I'm thinking I'm doing something wrong. I am doing something wrong. So I cut this out a minute ago, and now I'm like struggling to get it. There we go. I'm still not right. I'm sorry. I did this just like 2 minutes ago. See? Equilateral triangle, all the same on all the sides. And it is 30 degrees, not 45. Wow. And I was thinking about it, and then I don't know what happened. Camera turned on and I lost my mind. So 30 degrees, 30 degrees, and 30 degrees is 90. And so always think we're either making a right angle, and so I'm just going to spin this so that I can cut that other angle and line it up with the other 30 right there at the point. So everything adds up to a straight line. Oops, didn't do very good cutting there. And there's our equilateral triangles. So 30 degrees or 60 degrees. Let me set these here so that you can see them. And you can just make rows of these and make beautiful beautiful kind of stripy triangle quilts. It's a great scrap buster. So if you have a lot of fabric left over, then these are perfect for that. Let me turn this just a little bit. And point it down just a little bit more. Okay. So you can do diamonds with them, all kinds of fun stuff. So equilateral triangle, easy to cut with the ruler. Right there. Okay, so we've already got this 30-degree angle on our, I'm going to straighten it up a little bit because my rotary cutter, I didn't actually cut very straight. And right there. And let's do diamonds next. So since we're working with a 2.5 inch strip, once we have that cut, all we have to do is take our ruler, and then we're going to use the straight lines on our rulers. So this is a 2.5 inch strip, just like a jelly roll, and we're going to measure over 2.5 inches on our ruler. And you can just continue to cut those out of your strips. Let's see if I can get another one. I think I can. I can't. Okay. And that gives us our diamond shape. So from our diamond, we can make this 6-point star. There's half of it. Let's cut another one. Let's move these a little bit. I'm right-handed, so everything is going to be upside down and reversed for you, but 30 degrees. Right there. So my 30-degree line is right here. I'm starting that row. So there's my first cut, and then my second one, I'm going to turn it around because I'm right-handed. This is if you have one of those spinny rotary cutters or rotary mats, that would be a great place. Measure over 2.5 inches from your angled line, and then cut. Move these up just a little bit. Move that one out. And then there's the rest of our 6-point star. Hi, Cecilia. Hi, Brenda. This is a very popular block in quilting. We see it a lot. It is also the same shape if you want to make tumbling blocks. And there's your tumbling block. Super easy to cut these out. If you don't want to do all of those seams, you can actually use equilateral triangles in there and make it a little more interesting. So you can make a tumbling block with equilateral triangles or this same one. So I always think, I know I'm not the only one at home with a collection of jelly rolls that I was like, oh, that's too cute to pass up, so now I have to have it, and it's still in the wrapper. So go ahead and bust those out and have some fun. So you can make the star. You've got tumbling blocks. Super easy to cut out. And I turned on the machine. I'll take you over and show you, if you're working with equilateral triangles, how to sew those together real super easy. I think I've shown you before. Okay, so the other one that we can cut out is half hexes. Question.
Question from Lana. She wants to know what you cut to fill in around the star.
So you actually can take one of these. Here, let me borrow this one. And then you cut it in half. So I've seen a lot of them like this. You need to add your seam allowance 1/4 inch, but then you just add this and piece it, or you can take your equilateral triangles. So if you're trying to make it square, we end up with it's kind of, it's not easy to square this block up, but it can be done. So I'll come back to that question. Okay, half-hexes. So, yep, my favorite rotary cutter too. So it doesn't really, so half-hexes are a little bit different, right? Because they need to finish to a hexagon. So here's a large one. And so all of your sides should be the same, right? So see, let me move it over a little bit so you can see a little better. So all of my sides, whether it's the top or the side here, needs to be the same so that when all of this is pieced, I have a perfect hexagon, okay? And so you can sew them together like this when you're piecing it, instead of sewing these half hexagons and then trying to rotate. So you just make sure that you're facing them in the right way and you're just sewing strips together. So this is a really easy scrap buster quilt that is easier than you think to cut, because you're like, oh my gosh, well, how do I get this side to match this one and this one to match this one? And all you have to do, so we know we're working with a 30-degree angle, and this one takes me a minute every single time I have to figure it out. So you're going to measure either on the 30-degree angle or on the 60-degree angle, whichever point you're going to, right? And this one is, did I still do that right? So I think about this for a second. And then when I'm going to rotate, I'm going to go this way. Okay. So this one always throws me off, so bear with me. But you actually measure the side right here. So I'm going to line this tip of the ruler up, and then I'm going to look at where it ends here, and it is at, so this angle is right there. It's 1 1.5 really from the edge. So it's a little under 1.5. So once you have that angle, you rotate to line up with the edge. So see, my 30 degrees is lining up, and so we're coming across here to 1.5. I just did this. Don't you hate it when this happens to you? There. And then let's take a piece of scrap and measure. No, we're still not off. So maybe it's this one. Okay, it is. So 2 inches there, or 2.5, and then change the direction. This is always the hard part for me. There it is. I don't think that's it. Yep, that is it. It is. Okay, so with the 2.5, it fits right to that point right there on your ruler. So this is actually an intersection. We'll have to try it with a bigger piece too. I think I did the same thing. We're going to measure the other one too. And there is our half hexie. And is it quite? Yes, it is. It's right there. So see how it's the same size? So this side and this side need to be the same size to be half hexies. So when we measure this one, and I'll do this one again because it's kind of a little bit confusing. This one was a little bit bigger. But if you're doing 2.5, it's going to line up perfectly. Okay, yep. Anyone like to see that again? A little more cohesive this time. So, because we have to do it just the opposite this time. So the next time you cut, you're going to reverse what we just did. And so you're going to measure. So a couple of ways you can do it. So measure this angle is 2 7/8. You can come over here and measure 2 7/8, and that's where you're going to start your angle. Again on the 30 degree. Right there. And again, your sides are the same size as your top. So when you're piecing this one, you're just going to do rows. And you're going to have leftover on your quilt, and you're just going to trim that off square. Super easy and fun quilt. I've seen a lot of these come through the store that people have made, and they're beautiful, really scrappy. I love scrappy quilts. So who's going to make this one? We'll go into the star in a minute. Okay. Hexies. Another fun one that you can cut with your regular rotary cutting ruler. And again, it's either 30 degrees or 60 degrees. So we know that this is 2.5 inches. We have to cut a diamond first to make a hexie. And so we're just going to measure in straight line on that angled line and cut 2.5 inches. And then we have more diamonds. Okay. So once you have that, what's half of 2.5? 1 3/4, right? So you're going to line up your 1 3/4 mark with the center. I'm just going to draw it on here so that you can see it. So this center line that I just drew, you can kind of see it. Here, let me hold it closer. This is what you're lining up your 1 3/4 inch with.
be 1.5, or one. It would be 1.1
1 1/4.
Yeah.
Yep, 1 1/4. We're math here. Okay, once you get it lined up, thank you for checking me on that. You're just going to have lob that off, spin it around, and then line up with your 2 1/2 on this edge. Make sure that it lines up with the 1 1/4. And easy peasy lemon squeezy.
This makes Lana happy that she has her go big.
Yeah, it is much easier, but sometimes, so if we're, and you can sew these with your sewing machine. Don't be afraid to do that. Sewing Y seams is not difficult at all. So yeah, it is really nice to have AccuQuilt to cut these shapes out for us. So it's much easier. But if you're working with a jelly roll, AccuQuilt's not really going to work for that, to cut this out, because it's already pre-cut. And you need to know how, if you wanted to make hexies and piece a HexiQuilt together with a jelly roll, and piece it on your sewing machine, you need to know how to cut them. You need to know how to cut diamonds in order to do these stars. So the star actually finishes out to a hexagon, because it's a 6-point star, and then those hexagons get pieced together. So it's good to know. But all of those lines that you need to do it are on your ruler. So you can see all of these 30 and 45 and 60-degree angles. They're on your ruler. And if you don't want to do the math, this one is from AccuQuilt. This is an equilateral triangle. Let's see if our equilateral triangle measures up.
It's from Quilter Select.
It is from Quilter Select. What did I say?
AccuQuilt.
I'm sorry. Somebody said AccuQuilt to me. Yeah, this is a really cool one. So you can just go down the jelly roll and look what they've done. So you don't have to pick your fabric up the way I just did and pick your ruler up. Let's move some of this out of the way. So you don't have to pick your ruler up when you're using the equilateral triangle ruler. All you do is set it down. I'm 2 1/2 inches, and it dog ears the top for you, so that's nice too. And there. So we do have rulers for doing this, and it is easier, but they've put all of these lines on here too. So if you wanted to do diamonds, so then all you got to do is turn your ruler around and cut again. So again, super easy to make that really scrappy quilt. I have a lot of like small pieces of fabric in my sewing room that they don't go together, and that's okay. They can still go together in a quilt, so don't be afraid. So these fabrics here work really well together. But if you have fabrics that don't work, that you wanted to put something like this in it, where you have all of these different colors, don't be afraid to mix this stuff in too, because with scrap quilts you have to trust the process, and I don't know how it works, but it always ends up working. So you can have pastels in with vivid bold colors, in with batiks. It doesn't matter when it's a scrappy quilt. It all just kind of comes together, and the shape is where your eye ends up resting. So this ruler from AccuQuilt is $40.99. It's the 60-degree triangle ruler. They also have Dresden that they've come out with. There's 2 of them. Do I have to? Yep. Okay. 2 Dresden rulers that they've released. Packaging makes it look like it's a totally different color, but they're not. So one's a skinny one, and then you have a wide. This one is also a 30-degree right here when you sew it off, and then this one is an 18 degrees. So this is a really fun way to use up your scraps. You can make strips. Even if you wanted to do little tiny Dresdens, you could do them with this. 2 rulers there. Oh, I already put it over there. Another fun one that has come out is the 60-degree diamond ruler. Another really good one. So we're making the exact same shape with our square rulers. So if you do a lot with diamonds, this is worth having, because you can see when I was cutting these half-hexes, it took me a minute to turn the ruler the right way. So this is more convenient to use that ruler. And then they have, so there's 2 sides to this because you may be using patterned fabric. And this is a nice one to make like pinwheels and make this shape. And this can go with, these are also 30 degrees, so guess what else they go with? Not that one. Yes, this one. So it'll go with this ruler as well. I don't have one of these open to show you. So piecing, so this one, the question was asked earlier, well, what about how do you piece it together? So this actually turns into, we need more diamonds. Not diamonds. Yeah, diamonds. This actually turns into a hexagon, and then you piece your hexagons together. And so all you have to do is you're going to add 1/4 of an inch. Actually, it's a little more than that. But I'm just going to add 1/4. If I can find my 1/4 marks. There we go. And then these can fit in just like this. Hey, let's make it a little easier to see. Let's do that. So then this turns into a hexagon all the way around. And then you piece those hexagons together, just like you would piece these together, right? Just like that. And so each one of your large hexes is going to have a star in it. And so how big your star is will depend on your strip size that you cut. Does that make sense, everybody?
Did that answer your question, Lana?
Can't wait to be home. I hear you. I hate being away. So let me show you one of my little cheater methods. I'm just going to do, is there a chair? There is a chair. We are in luck. I'm going to show you a little way so that when you're piecing these, and grab the bigger ones. When you're piecing, so these tumbling block, we need to know our start and our stop point. And it depends on the machine that you're using. Some machines will actually tell you beforehand. Other machines you have to mark. So if we're going to sew a tumbling block, and I'm just kind of guessing using my eyeball what looks like 1/4 inch. Okay. These are super easy. So hold on while we go over to a machine. I'm just going to go right here.
I'm using the cave, right?
This one.
Oh.
Is it not on?
She's not on. You turned the cave on.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't turn this one on. Do I have another table that we could get really close? Or here, never mind. Let me just do this.
You need the roller table.
Nope, we're good. Thank you.
No light.
It's not on. I'm waiting for it to come on. Oh. Whoops. Sorry about that.
That was a different one.
Different strip. Okay. So as soon as this comes on,
Now it's in the on position. You
Okay.
did turn it on. It just hadn't booted up. There we go.
okay. So I want to be able to get in really kind of close. That's okay. So that you can see, because the thing that I want to show you is where your needle needs to be. Okay. Pedal's so far away. Okay.
That's right, Peggy. Bingo.
So equilateral triangles, the temptation is, okay, I'm just going to put these together like this and sew down that edge. And then when you open them, you get kind of this wonky thing where they don't work together. And so what I like to do is, maybe I should have used the cave. I'm going to put the presser foot down and the needle. So my needle is down, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer these. So these go just like this. Maybe they do. So that when they open up, I'm going to need more than one. Okay. And so with the needle down, you just line it up straight over. And of course it's not threaded. Will you grab one more of those equilateral triangles? They're, I think that's the right size.
One more set, right? Yeah.
Yep. Those. Presser foot down, needle down. There we go. Lift the presser foot up a little bit. There we go. That goes right up next to my needle. And thank goodness it's threaded. I'm gonna cut. And I didn't sew very straight. Here, let me just flip it over and do it again. There we go. And then when you open it up and sew your next piece, I'm actually gonna just kind of finger press this over, is where it starts getting a little bit weird. So line up, but see how we're like hanging over on the edge right there? So, and then when we open up, it's going to be like that. So we're always wanting to make sure that when we're sewing these, we have those little, I don't know what you want to call them, we dog ear it off in AccuQuilt. These little points. What do you guys call those? And again, my stitch kind of ran off. I usually trim these before I do it, but we're just going to leave it. So that, doing that makes sure, and then you can go and trim afterwards. So if I just press straight, you get this little straight edge and you get these little parts that stick out. And you're going to have that on both sides. So once you have your row made, you're going to just go back and trim these. Piecing a tumbling block, you need to mark your start point and your stop point. So you're going to line it up with your guide, and we're going to use the hand wheel to actually start right there. Okay? And then and then we're going to stop. I don't know if you can see it. I did mark it. There's a little spot. So you don't actually sew edge to edge. And so then you're going to open this up. These you will press open. And the same thing if you're making that that star quilt. I always like to sew open shape to closed shape, if that makes sense to you. And so I'm going to sew this side first. Again, we're going to start with the right pieces together. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. So when you press your seams open on these, there we go. When you press your seams open, you automatically know when to stop. Okay? That's why I like sewing open to closed, and I'm just folding this over. I'm going to lift my needle down, lift my presser foot up, and press that seam over. And then press our foot down. And we are going to stop right at that spot right there. And cut. So once you have that, you're simply going to take it and you're going to spin it and put these two pieces together. Again, I like to sew open to close, and by open I mean this is the closed side and this is the open side. And we're going to pull that out. Okay? And if you look at my pieces, See where I'm going to stop sewing is right there. Going to lower my needle. On my mark. Get set. Go.
Peggy would like to know if that's a Y seam.
This is a Y seam. And ta-da! Super easy. So once you have it all sewed together, you're only going to open one seam. So, oh, thank you. So you're only going to have this seam open, and then you can actually press these up.
Peggy says yuck.
A lot of people feel bad about Y seams, huh?
Well, they're really not that hard. You saw how quickly I did this. They're really not that hard. And look what you get. They're so pretty. Okay, time for giveaways. And thread of the month.
Dum 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 dum.
But lots of pretty stuff that you can cut out. Oh, this is better because you can see all of the shapes that we've got. Stars. Hexes you piece the exact same way. And you sew open to close. There's our tumbling block. Our half-hexes are over here. Half-hexes are super easy. Another one that is super easy to sew. Equilateral triangles, super easy. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of the Y seams. Give them a go. What do you got to lose? So tonight's thread, I think I wore the same outfit the last time we did the show.
I don't know.
Because we're matchy. Again, I think I did. I did the same thing. Is Plumtastic. It is color number 6735. 15% off for the show. 20% off if you're in the club. If you're not in the club, it's $20 to join. And you get this box that you can take to retreat and store all of your stuff. Tonight's giveaway is from Brother. It is a retractable measuring tape. And I have one in my pocket if I can fish it out.
Nice.
And it's leather-ish. Pleather. So, and go on. Goes up to, how big does this get? 60 inches. 5 feet. So, for your measure. And congratulations to Cheryl Roller. I think Cheryl has shopped with us before, but if you haven't, please go to quiltershq.com and register for Joan Sews so that we have your information to send this to you. And it says Brother on it.
Nice.
Even though I was sewing on a Bernina, so.
Brother.
So as always, oil your hook, rethread your machine, change your needle, have a cup of coffee if it gets that frustrating. But yeah, practice these Y seams. They're not difficult at all. Don't sleep on these. These are not hard for you to do. So just give it a try. Use a jelly roll. I know you have one.
And have a great week.
And have a great week. We will see you with something new next week if we don't see you sooner. No, wait, are we here? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're here.
Yeah.
We're here.